See here in the circuit, for the given bias circuit, find the stability factor. So here the given circuit is collector based bias circuit. So for the collector based bias circuit, the stability factor S is defined as S equal to 1 plus beta divided by 1 plus beta into RC divided by RB plus RC. So where RC means collector resistance. So here collector resistance is 20 kilo ohms and base resistance is 500 kilo ohms. Now substitute here. Again here beta is given as 100. Then we'll get S is equal to 1 plus 100 divided by 1 plus 100 into, so here RC is 20 kilo ohms, that is 20k divided by RB plus RC, that is 500k plus 20k. So it gives 101 divided by 1 plus 2000k divided by 520k. Now take the LCM, then it becomes 101 into 520k divided by 520k plus 2000k. That's equal to 101 into 520k divided by 2520k. So kk cancel the kilo ohms. Okay, so by using the calculator we will get the 20.84. So from the options, 20.84 the stability factor for the given biasing circuit. See here, this is the one of the important model in the JFET. So here one plot is given, that is between GM and VGS. So GM means transconductance and VGS is the gate to source voltage. So between these two parameters there is one plot is given. So find here drain current at VGS is equal to minus 4 volts. So but we know that one relation, so that is ID equal to IDSS into 1 minus VGS by VP whole square. But here we want the IDSS value and VP value from the graph. How can you find it? So VP is nothing but on negative x-axis the intersecting point is called as the VP value. So VP we got minus 6 volts and the maximum value, this is the transconductance maximum value, so that is 5 milliseconds. So GM maximum from the graph we got 5 milliseconds. How can we find the IDSS? So IDSS is defined as GM maximum equal to 2 IDSS divided by VP, modulus of VP. So this is the formula for finding the maximum transconductance. Okay, so from this we will get the IDSS value. So that is IDSS equal to, so GM maximum into modulus of VP by 2. Now substitute here. So GM we got 5 milliseconds. So 5 milliseconds into, so modulus of VP means, so minus 6 becomes 6 divided by 2. So that equal to 15 milliamperes. So this is the IDSS value. Now we want the drain current according to the problem. So at VGS is equal to minus 4 volts. So we know the VP is equal to minus 6. Now substitute here. ID equal to IDSS into 1 minus VGS by VP whole square. So IDSS we got 15 milliamperes into 1 minus, so at VGS we want ID at VGS minus 4 by minus 6 whole square. So minus minus is going to cancel, and by simplifying this we get 1.67 milliamperes. So this is the drain current at VGS minus 4 volts. So from the options, option C is the correct option. See here in the circuit, this is the one of the important model. So here alpha 1 and alpha 2 are the current gain for the common base. So that was given as 0.96 and 0.98. So alpha 1 for the first transistor and alpha 2 is the second transistor, and VCC voltage was given as 15 volts. So and RC is 250 ohms is given, and emitter current was given as, so this is the emitter current, that is minus 120 milliamperes, and VCC is given as 15 volts and RC is given as 250 ohms, and emitter current is given as minus 100 milliamperes. Calculate the IB value. So this is the IB value here. So how can you find it? So this is the Darlington pair. So totally overall, so this is the collector and this is the emitter and this is the base. So in this circuit, how can you find the IB value? So first of all, see here. So for this transistor, this is the emitter 1 current. So that is nothing but this current becomes the base current for the second transistor. So first of all, find the IB2. So before going to that, first of all, the calculate the current gain for common emitter. So that is beta 1 equal to alpha 1 divided by 1 minus alpha 1. So that's equal to 0.96 divided by 1 minus 0.96. So that's equal to 24. And similarly find the beta 2 for the second transistor. So that is alpha 2 divided by 1 minus alpha 2. So that equal to 0.98 divided by 1 minus 0.98. So that's equal to 49. So this is the beta 1 for the first transistor and this is the beta 2 for the second transistor. For the second transistor, we know the relation between emitter current and the base current. So that is equal to IB2 equal to emitter current divided by 1 plus beta 2. Okay, so here beta 2 we got 49 and emitter current was given as 120 milliamperes. Now substitute here. So that's equal to 120 milliamperes divided by 1 plus 49. So that's equal to 120 milliamperes by 50. So that equal to 2.4 milliamperes. So we know that IB2 is nothing but, so that is emitter current 1. So IB2 is equal to IE1. So we got IE1 equal to 2.4 milliamperes. Now use the same formula for finding the IB1 value. So here IE1 is 2.4 milliamperes we got. Now we know the relation, that is IB1 equal to IE1 divided by 1 plus beta 1. So that's equal to, here IE1 means 2.4 milliamperes divided by 1 plus 24. So that equal to 2.4 milliamperes by 25. So by simplifying this, we will get 96 microamperes. This is the required base current for the given problem. So the IB1 is what? We want the IB value. So that is what? 96 milliamperes. So from the options, option D is the correct option for the given problem. See here, this is the one of the important model in diodes, and it is a very important model also. So first of all, see here the diodes are given as ideal and find the output voltage here. How can you find it? So first of all, we know that the diode will become on state. So when the positive pin having the high voltage and negative pin having low voltage, so then diode enters into on states. Suppose if the diode positive pin having the low voltage and for negative pin having the high voltage, so then the diode enters into off state. So this is the on and off condition for a diode. Now see here, first of all, assume that these two diodes are on state. Okay, that means both are short circuited. So now in this I1 current is there, here I2 current is there, here I3 was entering. Now find the KCL equation at this node. Okay, so then we get, so V0 minus 15 by 3 kilo ohms plus V0 minus 9 by 3 kilo ohms plus V0 minus 0 by 6 kilo ohms. That's equal to 0. So from this we will get, so V0 is equal to 48 by 2 plus 2 plus 1. So that equal to V0 equal to 48 by 5. So this value is greater than 9. Okay. So this value is greater than 9 means 9 point something will get. Okay. So here for this diode, for positive pin 9 is there and for negative pin 9 point something there. So it will be, the diode becomes off state. Okay. So then the diode will be off state. Now find the output voltage. So now here only these two resistors are there and we want the voltage across the 6 kilo ohms. Okay. Now apply the voltage divider rule here. Okay. So from that we will get V0 is equal to, so we want the voltage across 6 kilo ohms. So 6 kilo ohms divided by total voltage is 6 kilo ohms plus 3 kilo ohms. So that's equal to 6 kilo ohms plus 3 kilo ohms and source voltage is 15 volts. So by applying the voltage divider rule, we will get V0 equal to 10 volts. So from the options, option C is the correct option for the given problem. See here in the circuit, this is a fixed bias circuit is given here. In the given fixed bias circuit, VC saturation is equal to 0 volts, the minimum value of IB to saturate the transistor. So at the saturation of the transistor, so what is the minimum value of base current? So this is the question. And given here VC saturation is equal to 0 volts given here. Okay, we know that IC saturation, okay, in this loop we'll get VCC by RC. So that's equal to 10 by 1K, that's equal to 10 milliamperes. So this is the IC saturation value, that is 10 milliamperes. So at this IC saturation value, find the base current. So here we know that base current IB equal to IC by beta. So what do we got IC saturation, that is 10 milliamperes, because we want the base current value at saturation. Now it is considered as IC saturation. So that's equal to 10 milliamperes divided by, so beta is given as 75. So by using calculator we will get 0.133 milliamperes. So from the options, option C is the correct option for the given problem. See here in this problem, here find output voltage. So what is the output voltage for overall circuit? So here two op-amp circuits are given here, and this is the non-inverting op-amp. Why means here the source was connected to positive terminal. So for non-inverting terminal the input was given. So this is a non-inverting op-amp, and here the output was, for the first op-amp output was given to input to the second op-amp. So that is given to inverting terminal. So this is a inverting op-amp. So first of all find the non-inverting op-amp output. So for the non-inverting op-amp output we know that, so let us assume that here the output is V1. So V1 by Vs equal to 1 plus Rf by R1. So this is the equation for output voltage input relation equation for non-inverting op-amp. So for this we are going to find the V1. So Vs is given as 0.1, and here feedback resistance is 80 kilo ohms. So this is the R1. So this is R1 and this is the Rf for this circuit. So V1 is we are going to find. So Vs is 0.1 equal to 1 plus. So Rf is 80 kilo ohms and R1 is 20 kilo ohms. So from this we'll get, so V1 is equal to 0.5 volts. So this voltage we are going to given to input for this second op-amp circuit. So here this V1 is given to invert terminal. So this is inverting op-amp. So here in this circuit this is Rf and this is R1. So this is act as input voltage for the inverting op-amp. So for the inverting op-amp, output by input equal to minus Rf by R1. So here output means, so this is V. So V by, so input is given as V1 equal to minus of Rf is 80 kilo ohms divided by, so R1 is 20 kilo ohms. So V equal to, so V1 is 0.5. So 0.5 into minus of 80 by 20. So kilo going to cancel and 0 going to cancel. 2 1s are 2 4s are. So that's equal to minus 2 volts. So this is the total output voltage for the overall circuit. So V equal to minus 2 volts. So from the options, option D is the correct option. See here in this problem, here in the BJT current mirror circuit shown below here. So here the current mirror circuit is given here. So assume that if the emitter area of Q1 is double that of Q2, so the area of the Q1 is 2 times of the Q2 emitter area. So then what is the current in the Q2 transistor? So let us assume that, so in the Q1 transistor the current is I1 and this is I2 or Ix. Okay, we want the Ix value. Okay, first of all find the I1 value in the Q1 transistor. Okay, so here VCC equal to VBE plus I1 R. We want the I1 value. So from this equation we'll get I1 equal to VCC minus VBE by R. So here R is nothing but 2 kilo ohms. Okay, I1 into R, VCC here. So VCC is 11.7 volts and VB is the voltage drop across VB. Okay, so that is 0.7 volts is considered. So for a transistor, so the VB is 0.7 and VCC is here 11.7 volts minus of, so VB is 0.7 volts divided by R is 2 kilo ohms. So from this I1 we get 5.5 milliamperes. But here the area of Q1 is 2 times of Q2. Okay, 2 times of Q2. So that means, so I2 equal to I1 by 2. So the current also becomes off here. So here the area is more and area is less. So then the current will be here more is there and here become off because 2 times are there. Okay, so here I2 means here Ix is given. So Ix equal to I1 we got 5.5 milliamperes divided by 2. So from this we get 2.75 milliamperes. So this is the Ix value. So in the current circuit, if the actually both transistors areas are equal, so then the I1 equal to I2. But here the areas of emitters are be one is double of the other. So that's why the current also becomes change. So I2 equal to I1 by 2. So the Ix is 2.75 milliamperes. So from the options, option B is the correct option. See here, this is a very interesting problem and very important problem here. So here some parameters are given. So that is beta is equal to 50 and VB is equal to 0.6 volts. Suppose if beta is increased 5%, so then what is the change in the VC value? So this is the question. That means first of all find the VCE value for beta equal to 50. Now change with 5% added, means increase the 5%. That means beta equal to 50 plus 5% means here 2.5. So for this, what is the new VC value? So that is, this is VC1 and this is VC2. Now compare the change in VC1 and VC2. Okay, so first of all find the VC1. So for beta is equal to 50. So here the two parameters given, that is 50 beta and VB value, and VCC is given. Okay, now first of all I am going to find the base current. So from this loop. Okay, so in this loop first of all write the equation, that is VCC equal to, so base current into base resistance plus, so voltage drop between base and emitter plus, and IB into base emitter resistance into beta. Okay, so in this loop I am going to write the loop equation. So VCC equal to the voltage drop across base resistance, that is IB into RB, plus voltage drop across base to emitter plus IB into R into beta. So some beta is there. Okay, as some effect upon the voltage drop across base emitter resistance. Okay, now substitute here, then we get the IB value. Okay, base current. So from that I am going to find the IC value. From that we can add the VC value. So first of all find here IB value. So that is IB equal to, so bring this term on left hand side, that is VCC minus VBE. So remaining terms IB is common, so that is divided by RB plus RE into beta. Now substitute here, VCC is equal to 10 volts and VB is 0.6 volts is given. So 10 volts minus 0.6 volts divided by, so IB is here, sorry RB, that is 400 kilo ohms plus emitter resistance is 1 kilo ohm into beta is 50. So we know that IC is equal to beta into IB. So here IB is there, directly product with beta, then we get the IC value. So that is beta equal to here 50 is there. So the finally we get directly IC value here. Okay. Now by simplifying this with the help of calculator, we will get the value is 1.04 milliamperes. So this is the collector current. So from that collector current, now take this loop. So from this loop we'll get the collector to emitter voltage. So let's see here. Now write the loop equation here. So in this loop equation, so that is equal to VCC equal to ICRC plus VCE plus ICRE. Okay, so the voltage is total is VCC is 10 volts is there, so that will going to equal to ICRC here. Okay, so the current is IC, here also current is IC current. Okay, now voltage drop across collector to emitter is VCE plus ICRE. Now from this we will get the VC value. So IC already we got that is equal to 1.04 milliamperes. Now substitute here. 10 volts equal to VCE plus, here IC is common, IC we got 1.04. So now RC is 2.7 kilo ohms plus RE is 1 kilo ohm. So from this we will get VC equal to 10 minus 3.85, so that equal to 6.15 volts. So this is the VC value at beta equal to 50. So at beta equal to 50, so VC is 6.15 volts. Now increase the beta value by 5%. Then again calculate the same procedure, we will get the VC value. Now compare the two VC values. Okay, now I am going to increment with 5% of beta. So in 5% of beta is 2.5. So that is equal, then the new beta becomes beta equal to 50 plus 5% is 2.5. So then the new beta is 52.5. So for this beta value, what is the VC value? Same procedure. So first of all find the IC value. Next substitute in this equation. Then we get the VCE new value. Okay, let's see here. So we know that in this loop IC equal to beta into VCC minus VBE by RB plus beta RE. Now substitute here, we get the IC value. So that is, so the new beta is 52.5 into 10 minus 0.6. Okay, that is VBE divided by, so RB is 400 kilo ohms plus 52.5 into 1 kilo ohm. So that's equal to, so this is totally IB value. So beta into IB, that equal to IC. Okay, so this that equal to IC is equal to, so by using the calculator we will get 1.09 milliamperes. Now take this loop. In this loop we will get the VC new value. Okay, now write the loop equation here. VCC equal to ICRC plus VCE plus ICRE. So from this VC equation equal to VCC minus IC into RC plus RE. So I just edited the equation. I bring this term, these two terms into left hand side. Okay, this is the equation. IC we got for beta equal to 52.5. Okay, now substitute here. So 10 volts minus, so IC we got 1.09 milliamperes. So 1.09 milliamperes into RC is 2.7 kilo ohms plus RE is 1 kilo ohm. So from this we will get VCE equal to 5.967 volts. This is for beta equal to 52.5. So for beta equal to 50, we got VCE is 6.15 volts. Now what is the change? How much passive are going to change here? So here beta incremented, then the VC value is decremented. Okay, from 50 to 52.5 is going, so VC value going to decreases. Okay, means there is a decrement is there. Okay, that means minus percentage is there. So that can be calculated as, so VCE equal to, by using the percentages formula, 5.967 minus 6.15 by total value is 6.15. How much was going to change? So 6.15 is the actual value, but there is a change is there. So into 100 percentage, we are going to get the percentage. So that is minus 2.97 percentage. So VC is decreased by, here minus means decremented. Okay, so that means what? Decreased by 2.97 percentage. So in this total value, 2.97% was decremented. Okay, so from the options, so option D is the correct option for the problem. See here in this problem, this is a very important model. Here this is a self-biased circuit is given here. Here for the circuit showing figure, assume that beta is equal to 100 for BJT. So the transistor will be operated in cutoff region, active region, inverse active region, or saturation region. This is the question. So cutoff region means the base to emitter voltage. So VBE must and should less than 0.7 volts. So it is not possible in this circuit because your source voltage 10 volts is there, VCC. So it this circuit may be in active region or saturation region. Okay, now check that the given circuit is in active region or saturation region. But what is the condition for active region? If IC active less than IC saturation, so then the transistor will enter into active region. Suppose if IC active is greater than IC saturation, so then the transistor is in saturation region. Okay, now first I'll find the IC saturation value and IC active value here. So then we can define that the given circuit is in active region or saturation region. Now I am going to find the IC saturation value. I am taking this loop. So in this loop, VCC equal to IC saturation into RC plus RE. So from this equation, VCC by RC plus RE equal to IC saturation. So from this you get IC saturation value. Now substitute here. So VC is 10 volts, that is 10 by, so RC is 8K plus RE is 2K. So from this we get 10 by 10K. So that's equal to 1 milliampere. So we got IC saturation value is equal to 1 milliampere. Now find the IC active value. Okay, first of all find the RTH value. So then we'll find the VTH value. From that we can find the IC value. So let's see here how to find it. In the self-biased circuits, this is R1 and R2. First I'll find the RTH value. So RTH value is nothing but R1 parallel to R2. So this is R1 and this is R2. So RTH equal to R1 parallel to R2, that is 20 kilo ohms parallel to 10 kilo ohms. So that's equal to 6.6 kilo ohms will get after simplifying this value. Okay, so RTH equal to 6.6 kilo ohms. For self-biased circuit, VTH is given as VTH is equal to VCC into R2 divided by R1 plus R2. So this is VCC value, this is R1 and this is R2. Now substitute here. So then we'll get 10 into 10K divided by 20K plus 10K. So by simplifying that, by using calculator, we'll get 3.3 volts. But we know that what is the IC active formula, that is IC is equal to beta into IB. Now we have VTH is there and RTH is there. So from these two data we can find the IB value. So beta is already given, that is 100. After substituting that we will get the IC active value. Now find the IB value. So for self-biased circuits, so that is IB equal to VTH minus VBE divided by RTH plus beta RE. So VB means that is 0.7. So very negligible value. It is almost equal to VTH divided by RTH plus beta RB. Now substitute VTH and RTH value, and RE we have 2 kilo ohms. So emitter resistance is 2 kilo ohms. Now substitute in this equation, then we'll get, so VTH is 3.3 and RTH is 6.6 kilo ohms plus 100, that is beta is 100 is given. Okay, and RE is 2 kilo ohms into 2 kilo ohms. After simplifying this by using calculator, we will get 0.0159 milliamperes. So this is the base current value, that is IB value. Now IC equal to beta into IB. So beta is 100 into 0.0159 milliamperes. So that's equal to 1.59 milliamperes. So from this here we have IC is greater than IC saturation. So we have got IC saturation is 1 milliampere only, but IC is 1.59. So 59 is there greater than that. So IC saturation we got 1 milliampere, and here IC active we got 1.59. So the given circuit is in saturation region. So from the options, option D is the correct option. See here, this is the very important problem in op amps. So here, if the frequency of operation is 0.5 megahertz, so if the frequency of operation is 0.5 megahertz, so an op amp slew rate is 0.0 volts per microsecond. So then what is the output? So if the output is in more distorted or no distortion, or 15 volts or minus 15 volts, how can we say that? So for every op amp there is a one maximum frequency there. So if the if the operation is crosses the maximum frequency, so then the output voltage is going to more distorted. So if it is in less than the maximum frequency, so there is no distortion in the output voltage. So then how can we find that the maximum frequency? That is means maximum operating frequency. So the maximum operating frequency is defined as F maximum less than or equal to slew rate divided by 2 pi into modulus of closed loop gain into input voltage. So the maximum operating frequency for any op amp is depends upon closed loop gain and slew rate and input voltage. So here slew rate is given as 0.8 volts per microsecond and input voltage is given as 0.1 volts. So what is the ACL? So closed loop gain. So for here the op amp is given as inverting op amp, because the source was given to the inverting input terminal, so that's why it is the inverting op amp. So the closed loop gain is defined as ACL equal to minus RF by R1. So here RF is 120 kilo ohms minus of divided by R1 is 10 kilo ohms. So that's equal to minus 12. But we want the modulus value. So that equal to 12, because here we want the only modulus value. Now substitute closed loop gain and operating point and input voltage in this equation. So then we get the maximum operating frequency for the given op amp. So that is equal to, so slew rate is given as 0.8 volts per microsecond divided by and 2 pi into, so this value equal to 12 into input is given as 0.1 volts. So by simplifying this we will get 0.106 maximum megahertz. So this is the maximum frequency, operating frequency for the given op amp. But we are going to taking the operational frequency is 0.5 megahertz. So this if you take this operation with this frequency, so this is greater than the maximum operating frequency. So it must and should define that the op amp circuit is a more distorted output voltage. So the output voltage is more distorted. So from the options, option is the correct option.